seated. As Secretary and Clerk, it is my privilege and pleasure to welcome you to this afternoon's graduation ceremony. Graduation ceremonies follow a tradition that began in the 15th century, and that tradition has evolved since. Roughly translated, graduation means taking a step, and graduation symbolizes the move of the former students, now called a graduand, into a new role in wider society as a graduate, there to use the talents developed as a member of this academic society. Each graduand will cross the stage and shake hands with the Vice-Chancellor to symbolize their transition to this new role, and we will applaud them for their success so far and in anticipation of their contribution to society in the future. At the end of the ceremony, the Vice-Chancellor will formally admit all those who have crossed the stage, symbolizing that each and every graduate is now incorporated into the community of scholars. As new members of this community, as the academic procession leaves the stage, the new graduates will join the procession, and that will conclude the proceedings. During the ceremony, those graduating with higher degrees will have their hood placed on them by the Vice-Chancellor to mark that they have attained the very highest levels of academic achievement. It is now time to begin our formal proceedings, and so I hereby declare the ceremony to be in session, and I call upon the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Ian Martin, to come and address you. Vice-Chancellor.
Graduands, family, friends, colleagues. As Vice-Chancellor of Anglia Ruskin University, it's my very great pleasure to be here today at this your graduation ceremony. This is my first year at ARU, and this autumn's graduation celebrations are the first that I'm fortunate enough to be part of. Congratulations on reaching this very significant milestone and graduating from your chosen course. Today, it's not only a chance to take stock and celebrate your achievements, but also to look forward to the multitude of careers that stretch out in front of each of you. Those careers are undoubtedly going to be wide and varied, but they will inevitably be joined by a common theme that will touch on each of you, and that theme is change, an unpredictable change at that. My academic background is medicine. But even before I started my medical career, I was interested in computers and digital technology. This interest I've kept going for a number of years. I am unkindly referred to by my daughters as a geek or worse. What I propose to do is to use both my interest and my professional background to give some context to what I mean by change. The German philosopher Hegel first commented that the only thing we learn from history is that we learn nothing from history. He may have been right in some contexts, but he was absolutely wrong in one, and that is we have learnt we are terrible at predicting the future and the change that is going to come. Just a few examples. The 19th century. The telephone has too many shortcomings to be seriously considered as a means of communication. Western Union internal memo in 1876. The Americans may not have been very good, but we were not much better. The Americans have need of the telephone, but we do not. We have plenty of messenger boys. Sir William Preece, chief engineer at the post office, again in 1876. Did we get better? We entered the 20th century. Thomas Watson, who was running IBM in 1949. I think there's a world market for maybe 5 computers. You would have thought by now we'd be learning, but we weren't. Ken Olsen in the 1970s, he ran DEC, the then biggest computer company in the world. There is no reason in the world anyone would want a computer in their home. No reason. Bill Gates, a much more familiar name, in the early 1980s. 640K of RAM ought to be enough for anybody. I could go on, but I've probably made a point. But what on earth does this mean for your graduation? Well, I think it means 3 things. That it's almost inevitable that the environment you work in will be very different by the time you retire. Secondly, you will fail if you try too hard to predict exactly what that change is going to be. But finally, and most importantly, as graduates, as you go out there, you have an individual and collective duty and responsibility to help shape that future. It isn't going to occur by chance. What's the world going to look like when you retire? We simply have no idea. But to give you some idea of the magnitude of changes you might see, let's turn the clock back 45 or so years. Why 45 or so years? Well, for those of you graduating from your first degree, that's how long it is going to be before you get a chance to retire. And if pensions carry on going in the way they are, it might be longer than that yet. So let's turn the clock back to 1970. For most of you, history book. The Cold War was at its peak. The Vietnam War was raging. Richard Nixon was the US president. There were two Germanys, and no one could have foreseen this changing peacefully just over 20 years later. The Beatles, who you may have heard of, had yet to split up. Relevant to today, less than 10% of the population went to university, a figure now nearly 40%. Life expectancy at birth was between 65 and 68 years. It's now at least a decade older, between 78 and 79 years. Gallon of petrol cost around 20 pence, but given we'd only had decimalisation, for most people they still thought of it as 4 shillings. And commercial jet travel was almost unheard of for the very rich. The digital technologies that have transformed the way we live more than almost anything else in the last 2 decades were incredibly limited. Probably the best multi-purpose computer you could buy at the time from IBM was available, but it wasn't desperately good, and it was incredibly expensive. It ran at a speed that was about 1/200,000th of the cheap desktop computer you can buy from Currys you have at home. They started with around 8 kilobytes of memory. That's 8 kilobytes, not 8 gigabytes, kilobytes. And that memory was ridiculously expensive. I couldn't find a price list for 1970, but I could find a price list for 1979 for that computer. There was a major price cut, and memory fell from $75,000 a megabyte to $50,000 a megabyte. Now that's pretty startling, but put that in context. The iPhone or Android phone you have in your pocket, at that price, would cost in 1979 US dollars 1.6 billion. What technology out there now that costs over $1 billion is going to be in your pocket by the time you retire? That's a challenge, but it's also an opportunity. Just as technology has changed, medicine and medical practice has changed, in some cases beyond recognition. In 1970, you would have still gone into classrooms where a small minority of the children were suffering the consequences of childhood polio, a fact that's now been conveniently lost on those who argue against immunisation. If you had a childhood cancer, your chance of survival has increased year on year for the last 3 generations. And even when I graduated in the 1980s, the technology we have to image, assess and diagnose is incredible, and certainly wouldn't have been even imaginable to most of us. I've talked a lot about the technology itself, but technology alone is not enough for us to benefit from what is possible. Bertrand Russell, the British philosopher, commented in his book Unpopular Essays, and I'd love to be bold enough to publish a book called Unpopular Essays, that change is one thing, progress is another. Change is scientific, progress is ethical. Change is indubitable, whereas progress is a matter of controversy. Technology-driven change only becomes real progress when it is paired with considered thought, good quality policy evaluation, interesting design, and many, many other aspects of creativity. There is no doubt whatsoever that we aren't going to reap the benefits of technology without matched strengths in the humanities and creative arts. Without great design, technologies will not deliver their full potential, and without good law and policy, society will not be able to benefit fully from these advances. In all of these aspects, these progress that has been made is only possible because of the parallel strands of education and research, the two things that define a university and this university. They're why the university as an idea and a university education are regarded so highly, and they're why you, sitting here today, have worked so hard to be part of this graduation ceremony. Whatever career you enter, embrace change. Make sure you challenge, provoke, implement new ideas. But above all, don't be so proud as to not recognise the inevitability of that change and how it will challenge you during your career. To return back to Bertrand Russell, the demand for certainty is one which is natural to man, but is nevertheless an intellectual vice. To endure uncertainty is difficult, but so are most of the other virtues. At ARU, we're committed to making sure that we deliver an outstanding education for experience for our students, that we carry out research and innovation that transforms lives and communities, and we work hard to support the economic, social, and cultural well-being of the communities we serve. We strive to see each of these aspects improve year on year, and this year was no exception. We had our best ever results in the National Student Survey. The Times Sunday Times UK rankings placed the educational experience you've had as amongst the top 20 in the country. And for the first time in our very short 24 years as a university, we featured in the prestigious Times Higher Education Global University Rankings. That means this university sits amongst the top 2 to 5% in the world. You, as our graduates, are a key part of that success, and we thank you. Before I close, I have to make special mention of your family, friends, and supporters who have provided you with physical, spiritual, moral, and all too often financial support during your educational journey. Many of you would not be sitting here today without that support, and on behalf of all of us, I extend my thanks to that family and friends and supporters group here today. I also have to acknowledge and thank the staff across the university who've contributed in so many ways to your education, together with our governing board, whose wisdom and guidance has helped shape the university. I wish you well in wherever your ARU degree takes you. I hope that you continue a relationship with us in the coming years. After all, our success and your success are now inextricably linked. Enjoy the day. Once again, congratulations. And Anglia Ruskin would not be where it is today without you. Thank you.
We now come to the presentation of those receiving awards today to the Vice-Chancellor. And I should explain at this point that each year we have a competition for the loudest applause at one of these ceremonies. Now, at the moment, your faculty is ahead, but you are being hard-pressed by the nurses and midwives. So let's see how we do this afternoon. I now call upon the Dean of Arts, Law and Social Sciences, Professor Martin Hewitt, to read the names of those who will be presented from the Faculty of Arts, Law and Social Sciences. Professor Hewitt.
Vice-Chancellor, it is my pleasure to present to you graduates from the Faculty of Arts, Law and Social Sciences. For the award of Bachelor of Arts with Honours, Film Studies and Media Studies, Bethany Broughton. Evelina Chelsea Rose Cooper. Lamira Cottle. And also receiving the Pat Coyle Memorial Prize, Alison Devlin. Amy Ellis. Lydia Garcia Roca. And also receiving the BA Honours Major Project in Film Studies and Media Studies Prize, Nicola Gutteridge. Li Ying Po. Dan Adrian Ruja. Katie Saunders. Shane Thomas Gordon. For the award of Bachelor of Arts with Honours Media Studies, Ruth Barber. Jamie Bish. Ieva Dayokaiti. Matthew William Fox. Lucille Gear. Gregory Mora Marui Gito. Angeline Shea Yigo. And also receiving the BA Honours Major Project in Media Studies Prize, Darren Wan Graham. Loic Mapupa. Phoebe Jane Ogborn. Stephanie Ajifa Onikutu. Molly Elizabeth Sophie Rudd-Clark. Chantal Sanchez. Rebecca Warboys. For the award of Bachelor of Arts with Honours Writing and Film Studies, Alexandra Rose Arkabachita. Chloe Casper. Nathan Davey. Harry Enderby. Roshan Matharu. Adam Page. Catherine Shaw. Lynn Sulheim Jacobsen. And also receiving the BA Honours Major Project in Writing and Film Studies Prize and the MacLeod Prize, Sophie Villalobos. For the award of Bachelor of Arts with Honours Film Studies, Khalid Al-Utaibi. Dale Barber. Matthew Buckley. Megan Burgess. Holly Day. Jonathan Harvey. Michael Hepper. Jamie Hyman. Dale Lamont. And also receiving the BA Honours Major Project in Film Studies Prize, Lauren Grace Marion Mannion. Stefan Newbold. Anastasia Nunez. James Matthew Ocampo. Thomas Simcock. Donald Smith. Katrina Smith. Nicholas Stewart. Ben Wesley. Hannah Wilcox. Elliot Wright. For the award of Master of Arts Film Studies, John Edward Oates. For the award of Bachelor of Arts with Honours International Business English, Lin Yuan. Vice-Chancellor, that partially completes the list of graduands for me to present to you today.
Each year, Anglia Ruskin University makes a number of honorary awards to individuals outstanding in their field of endeavour, who we hope will serve as an inspiration to those of you crossing the platform this afternoon. Their stunning achievement should motivate us all by reminding us that we should see our own success to date but as a starting point. They pose the question, shouldn't we too aspire to success like theirs? I now call upon Pro-Vice-Chancellor Ruth Jackson to read the citation for the award of Doctor of Arts honoris causa to Jack Zipes.
Vice-Chancellor, it is my pleasure to read the citation for Jack Zipes for the award of Honorary Doctor of Arts. Jack Zipes is an American academic, author, teacher, and former Leverhulme visiting professor here at Anglia Ruskin University. He is widely recognised as one of the world's foremost scholars in children's literature. Jack graduated from Dartmouth College in 1959 with a BA in political science. The following year, he completed his MA in English and comparative literature, then moved to Germany to study at the University of Munich and the University of Tübingen. His European experience and newfound knowledge of German, French, Italian, and Spanish opened up a new literary worlds to Jack, prompting him to return to Columbia University to complete a PhD in comparative literature in 1965. Jack's political activism in the late 60s led him to a critical examination of fairy tales, a theme that he was to continue to explore throughout the rest of his career. From 1967 to 1989, Jack taught at universities in New York, Wisconsin, and Florida, before being appointed Professor of German at the University of Minnesota, where he remained until retiring in 2008. Jack has been a prolific researcher and writer, authoring a total of 25 books, along with 10 edited studies. Some of his books are Breaking the Magic Spell, Radical Theories of Folk and Fairy Tales, published in 1979, Happily Ever After, Fairy Tales, Children and the Culture Industry, published in 1997, and Why Fairy Tales Stick, The Evolution and Relevance of the Genre, published in 2006. Other notable works include the Oxford Companion to Fairy Tales, the complete 1857 edition of the Fairy Tales of the Brothers Grimm, and the Norton Anthology of Children's Literature. Jack has been an active storyteller, working with children's theatres across Europe and the US, most notably with the Neighbourhood Bridges project in his home city of Minneapolis. In 2013, Jack came here to Anglia Ruskin as Leverhulme visiting professor. During his time here, he made enormous contributions to the intellectual and cultural life of our university, giving talks and contributing to seminars, leading public events for the Festival of Ideas, curating and introducing screenings of fairy tale films at the Arts Picture House, and undertaking outreach projects at local schools on behalf of our university. Jack has supported creativity and research within our university in numerous thoughtful and practical ways. One example is that he commissioned illustrations from students of the Cambridge School of Art for his book, The Golden Age of Fairy Tales. And thanks to his remarkable talent, experience, and enthusiasm, Professor Zipes greatly enhanced the research environment at Anglia Ruskin during his time with us, inspiring staff and students alike. Jack will be an inspirational role model for our students. We are delighted to welcome Jack Zipes to our Anglia Ruskin community. Vice-Chancellor, it is my pleasure to present Jack Zipes for the award of Doctor of Arts, honoris causa.
By the authority vested in me as Vice-Chancellor of Anglia Ruskin University, I confer on you, Jack Zipes, the degree of Doctor of Arts honoris causa. Congratulations.
Vice Chancellor, honored guests and students, it's a great privilege to receive an honorary doctorate from Anglia Ruskin University, where I spent several months as a visiting Leverhulme professor in 2013 and part of 2014. These were important learning months of collaboration with Mick Gower, Farah Mendelsohn, Martin Salisbury, Pam Smythe, Chris Draper, and other wonderful colleagues and students. And I want to thank them, for all their kindness and generosity while I was here. Now, traditionally, this is a time to wish all the graduating students a happy future and to encourage them to apply all they have learned at Anglia Ruskin in the so-called real world. And I want to wish all you students a happy and meaningful life. But I have to confess that I'm somewhat untraditional, and consequently, I want to warn you to beware of misguiding voices and messages that have contributed to perverse conditions in the UK, and especially in my country, the US. I don't have to tell you how conflict-ridden the world is today. I don't have to tell you how politicians have made devastating decisions that will negatively affect your future. In my own country, the disgusting face of fascism, racism, and sexism shows itself in the menacing figure of Donald Trump. Whether Trump-like figures will gain power in the UK is questionable. Yet it is upon you to prevent this from happening. And therefore, I want to urge you, in the spirit of the great American nonconformist, transcendentalist Henry Thoreau, to march forward in step with the music you hear in your hearts, and to remember that humanity depends on your integrity and civil disobedience. Thank you.
Dr. Zipes, thank you. We now continue the presentation of those receiving awards today, and I call again upon Professor Martin Hewitt to read the names of students from the Faculty of Arts, Law, and Social Sciences.
I now continue the presentation of graduates from the Faculty of Arts, Law, and Social Sciences. For the award of Bachelor of Arts, English Language and Linguistics, Lily Greenwood. For the award of Bachelor of Arts with Honours English Language and Linguistics, Kaylee Barr. Tarjo Bowen. Chun Chang. Hannah DeBarge. Shannon Eustace. Rebecca Hewitson Hunter. Basil Cafez. Agis Kokoros. Jennifer Kate Lees. And also receiving the BA Honours Major Project in English Language and Linguistics Prize, Laura Rose Mason. Marjana Mishbar. Toby Palette. And also receiving the BA Honours Major Project in English Language and Linguistics Prize, Rajpreet Sajan. Shana Vincent. For the award of Master of Arts, Applied Linguistics and TESOL, Inas Husham Abdul Abbas Al-Shrui. Thomas James Ashton. Holly Barnes. Tomas Cerny. Mary Cummins. Christopher Simon Davis. Jing Jin. Owen Thomas Mins. Peter Vanko. For the award of Master of Arts Intercultural Communication, Zaid Sal Bahait. Shirley Kathuri Marete. For the award of Bachelor of Arts with Honours English Language Studies, Asa Koulibaly. Maena Jean-Marie. Sofia Komleva. For the award of Bachelor of Arts English Language and English Language Teaching, Jessica Rosewell. For the award of Bachelor of Arts with Honours English Language and English Language Teaching, and also receiving the BA Honours Major Project in English Language and English Language Teaching, Eduardo Cassis. Dawn Sonia Fisher. Sylvia Fulop. Alp Ferret Goods. Vivi Janssen. And also receiving the BA Honours Major Project in English Language Studies Prize, Mikhail Koletsnikovs. Anna Roska. Faith Elizabeth Tapper. For the award of Bachelor of Arts with Honours English Language Teaching and English Language Studies, Yasim Kool. Monica Maria Pilkowska. For the award of Master of Arts TESOL and Materials Development, Anna Wilk. Vijaya Vani Yala. For the award of Master of Arts Cultures and Organisational Leadership, Eliana Kalambokis. for the award of Bachelor of Arts with Honours, Writing and English Literature, James Davis. Liam Doig. Ebony Lauren Elric. Ben Edward Garrett. Jake Hewitt. Alex Karouk. Paul Linggood. Lisa Lundeen. Keely Joel Middleton. Rebecca Neofetu. Havs Pada. Andrea Pegaseo. Amy Jean Soule. Charlotte Winscoe. Mehrose Wahid. Sophie Waldock. Also receiving the BA Honours Major Project in Writing and English Literature Prize, Philip Webb. Emily Whitney. Vice-Chancellor, that partially completes the list of graduates for me to present to you today.
We now come to the presentation of our second honorary degree today, and I call upon Ruth Taylor, Dean and Pro-Vice Chancellor, Faculty of Health, Social Care and Education, to read the citation for the award of Doctor of Letters honoris causa for Nalo Hopkinson.
Vice-Chancellor, it is my pleasure to read the citation for Professor Nalo Hopkinson for the award of Honorary Doctor of Letters. Nalo Hopkinson is a critically acclaimed author, Professor of Creative Writing at the University of California, Riverside, and valued mentor to several of our university's creative writing students. Born in Kingston, Jamaica, Nalo grew up in a literary family. Her mother, a library technician, and her father, an actor, poet, playwright, and teacher of English and Latin. During her formative years, she enjoyed close contact with some of the region's leading writers, and she became well-versed in traditional Caribbean folktales which, despite her move to Toronto at the age of 16, have continued to have a strong influence on her own writing. Nalo's first book, Brown Girl in the Ring, won the Locus Award for the Best First Novel and was a finalist in the Battle of the Books television show Canada Reads. In 1999, Nalo received the Ontario Arts Council Foundation Award for Emerging Writers, and she was the recipient of the John W. Campbell Award for Best New Writer. Her second novel, Midnight Robber, published in 2000, was nominated for the Hugo Award for Best Novel, and her 2001 novel, Skinfolk, won the World Fantasy Award and the Sunburst Award for Canadian Literature of the Fantastic. Published in 2003, The Salt Roads received the Galactic Spectrum Award, and in 2008, her novel, The New Moon's Arms, received the Prix Aurora Award, Canada's Reader-nominated award for science fiction and fantasy. The New Moon's Arms also won the Sunburst Award for Canadian Literature of the Fantastic, making her the first author to receive the Sunburst Award twice. In recent years, Nalo has focused on post-colonialism and resistant narratives, and in recognition of this work, she was appointed Professor of Creative Writing at the University of California, Riverside. Throughout her career, Professor Hopkinson has been notable for the outstanding ways in which she has supported other writers and artists. She has worked in libraries, been employed as a government culture research officer, and served as grants officer at the Toronto Arts Council. Nalo has taught writing at various programs around the world, including stints as writer-in-residence at Clarion West, one of the most prestigious writing workshops in the US. And in 2017, she is due to receive one of the highest accolades that the science fiction field has to offer. She will be the guest of honour at the 2017 World Science Fiction Convention. Our university already enjoys close links with Professor Hopkinson. She has mentored many of our creative writing students, and she has said she will be delighted to support students on our forthcoming MA in Science Fiction and Fantasy, and within our planned Centre for Science Fiction and Fantasy. Nalo's passionate and insightful commitment to the literary exploration of issues such as race, class, and sexuality exemplify the focus, determination, and talent required to excel at the highest level. She will be an outstanding role model for all our students. We are delighted to welcome Professor Nalo Hopkinson to our Anglia Ruskin community. Vice-Chancellor, it is my pleasure to present Professor Nalo Hopkinson for the award of Doctor of Letters, honoris causa.
By the authority vested in me as Vice-Chancellor of Anglia Ruskin University, I confer on you, Nalo Hopkinson, the degree of Doctor of Letters, honoris causa. Congratulations.
Vice-Chancellor, honored guests and students, words cannot adequately express how thrilled and honored I am to be among your number today. My profound thanks to everyone who made this possible. Soon after my second novel was published, I applied for a Guggenheim Award for my writing. Understand, I write science fiction and fantasy, so you can imagine the covers those books had. Multicolored, fanciful things with monsters and goddesses on them. I can only guess what my submission must have looked like beside all those more mainstream novels with what seemed like loftier themes. I knew that at the time many academic venues frowned on science fiction. Many of them still do, but I thought my writing was worth their attention, so I sent it in. I didn't receive the award, and I wasn't surprised. For one thing, it was my first novel. For a while, I felt abashed that I'd dared to submit so populist a novel in front of an academic jury. But now I no longer feel that way. I'm proud of my willingness to take the risk. Time has borne out my suspicion that my work has value to some people. Some is entirely enough. 16 years later, I've published 9 books. I've experienced good and bad reviews. I deal with chronic illness. I went through a period of destitution during which friends and family housed me and my partner. And now I'm a professor of creative writing at the University of California, Riverside, and Anglia Ruskin University is conferring upon me a Doctor of Letters. I want to congratulate everyone who's walking or rolling today alongside me. I know how hard you've worked for this. You've earned it. I know your professors are proud of you, and I'm proud of you, even though I don't know most of you, because I know what it means that you've gotten yourself here. As you go forth with your degrees in hand, I'm sure you're apprehensive about what comes next, and with good reason. Of course, the road forward will be long, difficult, and unpredictable, but you've already weathered the long, difficult, unpredictable task of earning your degrees. You got this. I've noticed that many people who stick with what they're most strongly drawn to do eventually do achieve some measure of success. The surest predictor of the likelihood of success is making the effort. I've had 55 years on this earth, probably more than most of you, so permit me to tell you some other things I've noticed in that time. People who make their mark on the world generally do so by bringing something unique to their fields, not by fitting in or doing the expected. Those people are uniquely themselves. You don't become yourself by not being yourself. In other words, you won't learn to be yourself if you don't practice. No one's going to tell you when it's okay to start being yourself, to start aiming for the best of what you want to achieve. So don't aim for the lowest rung thinking you need to wait for permission. Go for that Guggenheim. Recognize and celebrate your successes, no matter how big or small. Don't be blind to your own excellence. I recently heard this from Shifta Khalili, who is co-director of the California Institute of Earth Art and Architecture. When you race alone, you always win. By which I take to mean, take the courage to be completely unique at what you do. I honor the class of 2016, and I am proud to be one of you. Let's each go forth and do something surprising, and keep doing so until the world pays attention. Thank you very much.
Dr. Hopkinson, thank you. We now continue the presentation of those remaining to the Vice-Chancellor, and I call upon Professor Martin Hewitt to return to read the names of those to be presented from the Faculty of Arts, Law and Social Sciences.
I now continue the presentation of graduands from the Faculty of Arts, Law and Social Sciences. For the award of Bachelor of Arts with Honours English Literature, Joanna Ruth Boyton. Laura Elizabeth Browning. Charity Bryant. Tsitsi Tandeka Delaweo. Marco Di Rubo. Jessica Diamond. Connor Empringham Green. Oriana First. Francesca Fitzsimmons. Akam Grewal. Ellen Sarah Hall. Stephanie Nicole Hamilton. Rashida Hack. Alice Christina Hare. Danielle Louisa Harris. Rachel Hughes. Zara Madiha Hussain. Sid Ilsley Kemp. Charlotte Jenkins. Aisha Lloyd. And also receiving the BA Honours Major Project in English Literature Prize and the Justin Wand Memorial Prize, Edwin John Morehouse Marr. Harriet Mason. Linda Elizabeth Matthews. Amy Louise McInerney. Robert David Millington. Thomas Mools. And also receiving the BA Honours Major Project in English Literature Prize, Samantha K. Meisel. Raisa Nawaz. Roisin O'Hara. Raquel A.O. Pereira. James Queralt. Daniel Roberts. Jodie Roberts. Louise Scott. Sam Stripling. Aaron James Waldron. Kizzy Whittington. Sinead Leslie Williams. For the award of Postgraduate Diploma English Literature, Dulakshi W.M. Wakista. For the award of Master of Arts English Literature, Stephen James Goodwin. For the award of Master of Arts Publishing, Jessica Gina Ashton. Sean Betts. Linda Bison. Kimberly Dondo. Georgina Lily Garrity. Ankita Goyal. Philip David Mills. Grace Elizabeth Morris. Jessica Alice Nelson. Seungyeon Oh. Catherine Allison Smith. And also receiving the Cambridge University Press Prize and the Lutterworth Prize, Angharad Elizabeth Thomas. For the award of Master of Arts Creative Writing, Sean Anthony Baker. Soruka Sinead Florence O'Dowd. Louise Jane Oliver. David John Wing. Rupert Eric Charles Wood. Vice-Chancellor, it is my pleasure to present those who have been awarded higher research degrees. For the award of Doctor of Philosophy for a thesis entitled Reinventing Oral Tradition in Ben Okri's trilogy, The Famished Road, Songs of Enchantment, and Infinite Rip, Michael Ashoki Irini. For the award of Doctor of Philosophy for a thesis entitled Music That Actually Matters, Post-Internet Musicians, Retromania and Authenticity in Online Popular Music, Michael Stephen John Wolfe. Vice-Chancellor, that completes the list of graduates for me to present to you today.
We're now nearing the end of the ceremony, but first I would like to ask Philip Webb, one of our wonderful new graduates, to come to the podium to propose a vote of thanks on behalf of those receiving awards today. Philip.
Good afternoon. Vice-Chancellor, honoured guests, ladies and gentlemen, fellow graduates, it is my pleasure to offer the vote of thanks today for myself and on behalf of all of the students graduating at this ceremony. First and foremost, I would like to thank all of the academic staff who strived so tirelessly and selflessly to make our university experience a truly unforgettable one. I am sure that every one of us here today have been awed and inspired by your presence and your teaching. To spend your life in the pursuit and enhancement of knowledge is a noble and heroic calling, and to do so with such energy, such patience and understanding is beyond simple praise. You believed in us when others might have dismissed our worth. You spoke with conviction to encourage our ideas, and you listened with compassion to comfort our disasters. I know that all of us have faced and overcome mighty obstacles to be here today, and we could not have done so without your help. The lessons you taught will not be forgotten. They will be taken forward and put into practice during the long course of our careers and in the pursuit of our ambitions. We will remember you always with fondness and with respect. Thank you for changing our lives. Next, I would like to thank all of the university staff who make this institution so great, so successful, and so diverse. This includes all of the many societies, the student services, the student union, the administration team, the chaplaincy, the IT technicians, the librarians, and the security, the porters, the cleaners, the cooks, the coffee makers. Thank you for allowing us to be the best we possibly could be. Thank you for always being so cheerful, even on the greyest of days. And thank you especially for doing all of this without ever expecting thanks. Truly, we would not be here without you. Perhaps most importantly, I would now like to thank those closest to us, our parents and partners, family and friends, those who stood by us when the road was rough, made us laugh when laughter was furthest from our thoughts, those who forgave us when we stayed up all night with our heads and our hearts buried in books. To those who know us like no one else knows us, I'd like to say, this is also your day. You have supported us in countless ways across the years, sometimes with tenderness, but sometimes with firmness, but always with love. And so today is a celebration of our gratitude to you, because without you, none of it would have been worth it. Thank you. Finally, I would like to extend my sincere thanks and congratulations to all of my fellow graduates. Well done, everyone. We made it to the other side. It has been an absolute pleasure to share this unforgettable journey with you all. It would have been much less fun without you. Wherever you are going next, and whatever you are doing, I wish you good luck and farewell. And here's a poem. Thank you, said the earth to the sky, said the flower to the rain, my throat was growing dry. Thank you, said infinity to time, said the stars to the dark, you gave us reason to shine. Thank you, said the student to the teacher, said the son to the mother, said the man standing alone to a room full of 1,000 strangers. Thank you, said silence to the song, said truth to the tongue, whatever you say can never be wrong. Thank you, said now to forever, said the friend to the friend, we did this together. Thank you.
Philip, thank you. I think that's probably a first. I now call for one final time on the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Ian Martin, to address the graduates.
And now, would all those who've been presented to me here on stage please stand? As Vice-Chancellor of Anglia Ruskin University, I hereby admit you to the degrees, diplomas and awards for which you have been presented to me today. As a member now of the community of scholars, take all that you have learned into society and uphold the values of freedom and thought and scholarship. Our warmest congratulations to you all. Your friends, family and supporters have shared in your day. They've cheered and applauded as each of you have crossed the stage. As we've heard several times, they are a key part of today's celebration and a key part of your journey. So if you'd like to turn now and face them and return the thanks in the usual way, I think we appreciate it. If you stay standing, once again, congratulations and enjoy the rest of the day.
Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of the ceremony, and I declare the proceedings closed. Will you please now all stand for the academic procession?